and hopefully everyone is doing wonderful today. A few days ago, one of the brothers and I was having this conversation about the difference between the word Shabbat and Sabbath. And it was a very, very good conversation, got very deep, right? But also made me think about a few videos I did dealing with, keep holy the Sabbath, and also Eli, Eli, lama sabachthani, and looking at these translations. And once I started doing this, it became very apparent that a lot of these translations are mistranslated on purpose. Because there's a spirit that goes behind this. There's a whole spirit and ideology that's given to us with these translations. See, Hebrew is a concrete language. It's very descriptive, and it's solid. It's a language that it uses things around us that we can identify with, right? Well, that's what the ancestors did. English is an abstract language. It's very vague, right? Like words like there, and there, so on and so forth, right? But it's also an equivocal language, meaning it has two or more meanings in it. Meanings that's usually used to deceive, right? So when I looked at these translations and with these spellings, again, it began to make more and more sense how when they translated it from Hebrew, right? Even they may have some mistranslations even in the Hebrew language, but when they translate it into English, man, it's off on purpose. It's really done on purpose. Again, like I said, I'm not a Hebrew expert. I usually go to this book right here, the Ancient Hebrew Language and Alphabet, right? And I have other sources that I use. Again, because I want to be able to honor and worship the Most High according to what He said, not what man says. So it's all these different things that I use, these tools, and I try to put things together to bring a little bit more clarity. With that being said, let me start off by giving all glory and honor to the Heavenly Father, Yahweh, and to His Son, the heir of the throne, Yeshua HaMashiach. Would like to also send out a greeting to the brothers and sisters that's trying to teach and reach the children of the diaspora, and also to the Gentiles that are gathered with us in sincerity. To you guys, I say shalom. So I'm going to put Shabbat and Sabbat on this board and get some verses and try to break this down, because again, I want you to see, even though we hear, there's a difference, but when we see the spelling, it begin to even make more sense, right? Again, because the spelling puts us under the spell, because there's an ideology that goes with these translations. Anyway, so Shabbat versus Sabbath or Sabbat, right? Man, oh man, oh man. Let's go to Genesis chapter 2. Let's start off at verse 1. Thus the heavens were finished, and all the hosts of them. And on the seventh day, Elohim ended his work which he had made, and rested on the seventh day from all his work which he had made. And Elohim blessed the seventh day and sanctified it, because in it he had rested from all his work which he had created and made. So let's go to Exodus. I'm going to go to Exodus chapter 20. Exodus chapter 20. All right. Exodus 20, and then we're going to get verse 8. Exodus 20, verse 8. Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. 6 days shall thou labor and do all thy work. But the seventh day is a Sabbath of Yahweh, the Elohim. In it thou shalt do no work, thy, nor thy son, nor thy daughter, nor thy manservant, nor thy maidservant, nor thy cattle, nor the stranger that is within thy gates. So the Most High created the heavens and the earth, and everything, and all the host of it, and he rested on the seventh day. And now here it is in the book of Exodus, he's essentially telling us to follow him, do what he has been doing. Again, this is why it's very important. People think it doesn't matter. They do this with the day and they do this with the people, right? It don't matter who the people are. It don't matter what the day is. Again, it just shows you again the demonic spirit behind all this. Because if it didn't really matter, why did these people do all these changes? Why did they go through so much effort, do all these things to create all this confusion? Then when you begin to see this, it really doesn't matter. Again, it's very telling. So let's do this. Let's separate this. So we got Sha, Ba, Ta, and Sa, Ba, Ta, right? So I'm going to use the Hebrew alphabet or letter to correspond with the English letter or sound, right? Rather, because again, to bring clarity to this, right? To make this make sense. So the Sha would be like the sin of the shin, which would be teeth. The Ba would be like tent, like a anyway. And then Ta, right, which would be like a stick. And then we have Sa. Sa would be like thorns, right? And then we have, again, Ba, and then Ta. Let's put up here with each one of these, each one of these will represent. This would be like teeth, right? Get another one. Teeth. Teeth. A tent. And a stick. Stick or a cross, right? A stick or a cross. So teeth, a tent, stick. So be thorn, right? Thorn, again, tent, and then a stick. And we know throughout time, these letters of these alphabet would I wouldn't say necessarily change, but we'll get more examples, right? So the T would be used to eat, consume, or separate, right? Okay. Tent would be like a house. Again, because most people don't live in tents now, but again, a house for a family. It could also represent family. stick would be like a sign, mark, covenant, some would say even the cross, right? We could put the cross right there. So thorn would be used to support, protect, right? Or either hold on, to hold on. Again, then we got house, family. Again, sign, mark, covenant. I guess I put cross back right there. Again, we know language again developed over time. We know that. But again, we still see even as language begin to develop over time, we still can see there's an obvious difference. We see it, right? Even in the English, we see it in the Hebrew, but then the whole meaning really changes, right? When we understand how deep this goes. I'll tell you what, let's do this. Because I asked AI a question, and the question was, what's the difference between Shabbat and Sabbath? And it said, Shabbat and Sabbath are the same concept, the weekly day of rest, right? Same concept, that's what it says. But they differ in language and culture, right? Sabbath is Shabbat is the original Hebrew word meaning to cease or rest, while Sabbath is the anglicized translation. Again, so you say there's a cultural difference, a context. Again, which makes sense when you start looking in most of the Bibles, even here, when you start looking at the translations, they have an H, which again would change the whole meaning as well. From a stick or sign of malt, and the thigh. I'm trying to remember what it is. I'll tell you what. Let's do this. I don't want to go there because like I said, I just really want to cover this part. But since I mentioned it, let me see if I can find it right fast, family. If you don't mind, let me take a second. Let me take a second to see if I can find it right here. Like the thought would be like a basket. Again, so it would even change the meaning right there. Again, like I said, it's so why would they put the TH at the end of it in English when that would change the whole alphabet? Again, like I said, it's done on purpose. It's not by coincidental. It's not coincidental at all. It's not at all coincidental. So let's move forward. Let's go to Leviticus. Leviticus chapter 23. Let's start off at verse 1. And Yahweh spoke unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them concerning the feast of Yahweh, which ye shall proclaim to be holy convocations. Even these are my feasts. So this is not the feast of the Jews or the Israelites. This is the feast of the Most High. 6 days shall work be done, but the 7th day is a Sabbath of rest and holy convocation. Ye shall do no work therein. It is a Sabbath of Yahweh in all your dwellings. These are the feasts of Yahweh, even holy convocations, which ye shall proclaim in their seasons. it's just like when 4th of July come around, this, like, there's a whole spirit behind that with said system, with said people. But these same people say they believe in the book, even in religion, but they don't give the Most High the same respect, right? They want to worship the Most High on their time, on their day. And again, that's again why somebody changed it. Even, with the mindset of changing the identity of the people. And then when this brought up, it's like, well, it doesn't really matter. But why would you go through such a extent to do all this, to change this, to give you a misspelling, right? Again, like I said, there's a whole spirit that goes behind it, because there's an ideology that follows that translation. I can worship the Most High, I can worship God on any day. When he's telling you that there's a pattern, he's saying the same thing over and over. Again, he set apart he separated a time, for a family, for a people under this covenant. And the same people are supposed to teach the world. But again, like I said, they get uncomfortable with that as well. Again, like I said, is it a day that you can rest or be there of support, for you and your family, but under whose covenant? Because the Most High, he set this day aside. He set this time aside. Let's go to Ezekiel. Ezekiel chapter 20. Let's get verse 12. Moreover, also I gave them my Sabbats to be a sign between me and them, that they might know that I am Elohim that sanctified them. Again, but these people say they believe in the book, but they are not going to follow said rules. And my people blindly follow them and say, well, it doesn't matter. Let's go to Colossians. Let's go to Colossians. Colossians chapter 2, verse 16. Let no man therefore judge you in meat and drink, or respect of a holy day, or the new moon, or the Sabbath day. Again, we have heard people in religion take these verses and just butcher them up. Again, this is why they think they can eat whatever they want to eat. And that's not what it's saying. Which is going to be a whole nother lesson, a whole nother discussion. All respect of a holy day. Again, that's why they'll celebrate, Christmas, Thanksgiving, which that wasn't time that was set aside, by the Most High to meet with his people, and then his people teach the whole world. Again, but these people don't want to follow, but my people want to follow the Gentiles. Again, and like I said, in religion, that's why they follow and practice. They worship on the first day, right, of the week, rather than the seventh day of the week. Again, it begin to make total sense. Like I said, family, this is just what I see. You may not see it. With that being said, as usual, peace, love. Shalom.